Ukraine is another very important thing. Why? Firstly, because this land is an extremely fertile land with nearly 25% of the total world's black soil, which is present in the region of Ukraine. With this region of extreme black soil and high fertility, this region is known for numerous production. Together, Russia and Ukraine are the largest exporter of wheat. The major countries which are actually importing wheat from Russia are Egypt, and 70% of the Egypt's requirement is met by Russia alone. So Egypt requires nearly $4 billion of wheat every year to feed its 100 million population, and that comes from Russia. Now Ukraine and Russia have been centers of agriculture. Now in Ukraine, why agriculture has been so important? So if we can see this map, nearly 70% of the Ukraine is covered with agriculture in one form or the other. Specifically in the regions of steppes, as we have discussed in our previous sessions, this is the Dnieper river which flows through, and close to the Dnieper river in the south, this whole belt from Moldova to the region of Russia, Kharkiv and Donetsk, Luhansk are the areas where cereals and sunflower are the major crops which are seen. So to the right, to the, we can say, in the east of the Dnieper river is the Dnieper lowland. In the west is the Dnieper highlands. In the highland area, we have seen a significant proportion of sunflower production. Towards the north, where you have forest steppes, maize is a predominant crop, and towards the western Ukraine, a significant proportion of rapeseed, and then we also have soybean which is seen. So it's a kind of mixed vegetation towards the western side of Ukraine, but specifically towards the south and the southeastern side, we have significant proportion of sunflower and cereal cultivation. Now this country, as we said, accounts for a significant proportion of its population being engaged with agriculture. 70% of its population is engaged in agriculture. 70% of its land is agriculture, not the population. So 70% of the land is actually involved in agriculture, and along with that, nearly 9.3% of the GDP comes from agricultural sector. If we talk about the global production, as per the USDA report, it is first in the production of sunflower seed. It is sixth in the production of corn and barley. It is seventh in the production of rapeseed. It is ninth in the production of wheat and soybean across the globe. Along with that, Ukraine is known to export numerous things. Ukraine, it is believed, exports 12% of the total wheat exports worldwide. 12% is accounted by Ukraine alone. 16% of the global export of corn comes from Ukraine. 18% of the barley export comes from Ukraine, and 19% of the rapeseed exports come from Ukraine alone. Ukraine, in terms of revenue being generated from agriculture, has shown a remarkable increase from merely 26% in 2012 to 45% in 2020. So a significant increase and a jump in the agricultural production has been witnessed. If we talk about India's bilateral relations with Ukraine, we can see that over the years we have a significant export-import with Ukraine, but significant amount of import is being witnessed from Ukraine in contrast to export. The import is nearly 5 times higher in absolute terms, so this value is in dollar millions. So we have nearly $2,000 million of import coming from Ukraine. At the same time, only provisionally it is $460 million of exports going to Ukraine. Our major exports to Ukraine are predominantly from the pharma sector. Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, Ranbaxy are some of the companies which have their headquarters and their centers even in Ukraine. Then we also have an Indian Pharmaceutical Manufacturer Association in Ukraine. So India is primarily exporting pharmaceutical, but when it comes to export, India imports a lot of agriculture. So huge amount of sunflower oil, significant amount of sunflower oil comes from Ukraine. Then we have a lot of nitrogen fertilizer, which also comes from Ukraine, which is essential for our agriculture. So that is one of the important things that we need to understand. Now here are some of the important table. So when it comes to India's import, as we can see, a significant amount of oils are imported from Ukraine, and that accounts for nearly 1.59 billion dollars. However, fertilizers is around 230 million dollars, which is next significant. Then we also import a little of not a little, a significant amount of chemicals, plastics, machineries, wood articles, residue or waste of food industry for animal fodder is again obtained from Ukraine. Coming on to what we export, as you can see, a significant export is pharmaceutical, which is the most major share from India. The other exports from India are electrical, organic chemicals. Then we also have some chemical product, rubber, tea, coffee, etc. But when it comes to import from fertilizers, as we mentioned, it is predominantly the nitrogen fertilizers which we are importing. Now, this would significantly affect the Indian economy because we have a significant huge amount of import in terms of fertilizer required for our own native agriculture, along with the sunflower oil, which is highly imported from Ukraine. As I mentioned, Egypt, Turkey and Bangladesh are the three major importers. Now, Egypt has been importing a lot from Russia. Similarly, Turkey has been importing nearly 75% of its requirement from these regions. Now, amidst the ongoing tension, probably India would have opportunity to see more imports of wheat, since we are a huge producer of wheat, and uh, we can have possible avenues for export of wheat. So those are some of the things that we have discussed in this lecture, specifically the agriculture of Ukraine and the trade relations with India. Thank you.